You have been lied to your entire life. The pest control industry makes over $22 billion every single year, and they need you to keep spending. There's a single ingredient sitting in your kitchen right now, something you probably paid less than $1 for, that kills ants permanently, destroys their colony, and stops them from ever coming back. Not for a week, not for a season, permanently. The study that proved this was buried in 1967. The companies that buried it went on to become the biggest names in pest control today. I'm going to show you exactly what this ingredient is, exactly how to use it, and exactly why you have never been told about it. Every single step. And stay until the end, because the last tip reveals why ants come back even after professional treatment. And it will shock you. Every summer it starts the same way. You walk into your kitchen and there they are. A trail of ants moving across your counter like they own the place. You spray the stuff from the store. They disappear for 2 days. Then they come back. You call the pest control company. The man comes in a van with a logo on the side. He walks around your house for 15 minutes. He sprays some chemical that smells like burning plastic. He hands you a bill for $200. You pay it because what else are you going to do? 2 weeks later, the ants are back. So you call again. And they tell you it's a seasonal problem. They tell you your home needs quarterly treatments. That is $280 times 4. That is $1,220 every single year for ants. And they never actually go away, do they? You know someone who spent $600 on a single treatment for fire ants, and within a month, the mounds were back in a different spot in the yard. You know someone who ripped up their kitchen tiles because an exterminator told them the colony was living beneath the flooring. The quote for that job was $1,800. The ants came back in 6 weeks. This is not bad luck. This is not because ants are impossible to kill. This is a system. It is designed to keep you dependent. It is designed to make sure the treatment never fully works. So you keep calling, keep paying, keep feeding an industry that has absolutely no interest in actually solving your problem. The anger you feel right now is completely justified, because there is a solution. There always was. They just made sure you would never find it. Here's the part they do not want trending online. In 1967, a research team at a state agricultural university completed a 3-year study on natural ant deterrence and colony elimination. The study was funded partially by the federal government and partially by a grant from a natural products cooperative. The results were extraordinary. They had identified a common household substance that, when applied correctly, disrupted the pheromone communication system of ant colonies, poisoned the queen through worker transfer, and created a barrier that ants were neurologically incapable of crossing. The study was submitted for publication in 2 major scientific journals. Both rejected it, not because the science was bad. The peer reviewers called it solid. Both rejected it, citing pressure from industry advertisers. Within 18 months, 3 of the largest chemical pest control manufacturers at the time had lobbied the relevant agricultural departments to reclassify the research as inconclusive. The lead researcher, a man who had spent his career studying insect biology, later gave an interview to a small regional newspaper in 1973. He said, and I want you to understand the weight of this, he said the companies were not afraid of one study. They were afraid of what would happen if people realized they had never needed the chemicals at all. That interview was never picked up by national press. Those companies went on to merge, rebrand, and become the parent corporations behind the pest control brands you see advertised on television today. They spent enormous resources making sure this knowledge stayed buried. Only a fraction of people who search for ant solutions ever find what actually works. You are now one of them. What I am about to show you is not a hack. It is not a trend. It is a suppressed solution that has existed for generations and works every single time. The ingredient is borax, not boric acid powder from the pharmacy, though that is related. Plain borax, the laundry booster. The white powder in the orange box that costs between $4 and $5 for a large container that will last you years. That is it. You have probably walked past it in the store 100 times without knowing what it could do. Here is why it works. And this is important, so pay attention. Ants operate as a superorganism. The workers you see are not the problem. They are the delivery system. They go out, they find food, they carry it back to the colony, and they feed the queen. The queen is the problem. She can live for years. She can lay thousands of eggs every single day. If you kill the workers, the queen just produces more. Every spray you have ever bought targets workers. That is why the problem never ends. Borax works differently. It is not a contact poison. It is a slow poison. Worker ants pick it up along with the food bait. They carry it back to the colony. They feed it to the queen. The queen dies. Without the queen, the colony cannot reproduce. The existing workers die off naturally. The colony collapses completely. Professional pest control companies use synthetic versions of this exact mechanism in their most expensive treatments. The industrial product they use, which they charge you $400 to apply, is a manufactured borax-adjacent compound. The natural version does the same job for under $5 total. The chemical reaction is identical. The result is identical. The price is not even close. The first thing you need to do is mix the bait correctly. Take half a teaspoon of borax and mix it with 1 tablespoon of powdered sugar. Add just enough warm water to make a thin syrup. Not thick, not dry. A liquid syrup that ants can drink and carry. This ratio is critical. Too much borax kills the workers before they return to the colony. The bait needs to be weak enough that they survive the trip back. That is the whole mechanism. This is what most people get wrong and why homemade ant killers fail. Then, take small pieces of cardboard or bottle caps and place tiny drops of this syrup directly on the ant trails you have observed. Do not spray it. Do not spread it wide. Drop it in small concentrated pools exactly where you see them moving. Ants communicate using pheromone trails. They will tell the entire colony where the food is. Within hours, you will see massive numbers of ants at the bait. This is a good sign. Do not disturb them. Do not spray anything near the bait. You want maximum worker exposure. Leave the bait stations for 48 to 72 hours. Refresh them if they dry out. After 72 hours, you will notice the ant traffic slowing. This means the colony is being affected. At the 5 to 7 day mark, ant activity will drop dramatically. By day 10, most infestations show complete elimination of visible activity. For the barrier, dissolve 2 tablespoons of borax in a cup of warm water. Add a few drops of peppermint oil. Spray this solution along every entry point you can identify. Window sills, door frames, baseboards, cracks in the foundation. The borax disrupts pheromone trails. The peppermint oil is actively repellent to ant sensory receptors. Ants that approach this barrier turn around. They cannot override it. One important warning: keep this mixture away from pets and small children. Borax is low toxicity, but it is not zero toxicity. Apply it in areas pets cannot lick. Do not use this bait method outdoors in heavy rain, as it will wash away before workers can retrieve it. For outdoor mounds, specifically, make a more concentrated dry mix. 3 parts sugar to 1 part borax. Sprinkle it around the mound entrance, not inside it. Let them carry it in themselves. This is the final and most important thing most people miss. After the colony collapses, seal every crack and entry point you identified. The borax treatment solves the current infestation. Sealing solves the next one before it starts. Thousands of people who have used this exact method report the same experience. The first day, the ants seem to multiply. You panic. You think it is not working. That surge is the colony responding to the food signal. It is working perfectly. By day 3, the trail thins. By day 7, it is gone. One woman who had battled ants in her kitchen for 4 consecutive years tried this after spending over $900 on professional treatments across that period. She reported complete elimination in 8 days. No return in the following 2 years. A man with a fire ant problem in his Texas yard, the kind of fire ants that sent his dog to the vet twice, used the outdoor dry bait method across 3 mounds simultaneously. All 3 collapsed within 2 weeks. His total cost was under $6. The results with borax last indefinitely as long as the colony is eliminated and entry points are sealed. Unlike chemical sprays that wear off in weeks, there is no residue timeline with this method. You eliminated the source. The queen is gone. There is no colony to send new scouts. You do not need a quarterly contract. You do not need a van with a logo pulling into your driveway twice a year. You needed $5 and the information they spent decades making sure you would never find. That is the truth they buried. That is what you now know. Hit the like button right now if this saved you money. Subscribe, because next week I'm exposing the cleaning industry's version of exactly the same playbook. A single $2 ingredient that does what $40 products cannot. The final tip I promised you: the reason ants always come back after professional treatment is that exterminators are trained, and this is in their actual industry guidelines, to treat visible trails and entry points only. They are specifically not trained to locate and eliminate the queen, because if they did, you would never call again. That is not a conspiracy theory. That is their business model written into their service structure. You are not helpless against this. You never were. You just did not have the information. Now you do. Share this with one person who is dealing with ants right now. You might save them $1,000.